So we have the ULX Pro Tarik over here. This is, the Tarik collab with a special color. And I want to talk about it with the new 8K update. I tested it, and then the 8K update also came with a new feature called Tournament Scroll. And these two features are going to be on the new ULX competition that's coming out. So now that we have the firmware update, we can kind of judge how good it is. So in my opinion, the Pro Tarik has the 8K. I feel like the 8K is definitely really, really good. It's very snappy. It's basically finally brings it up to the competition, essentially. Like a lot of mouses like the Razers or even the Logitechs themselves already have 8K, and so does like Beats X Max also have 8K. So really it's finally up to par with them, but they said they tested the reliability. And I would say that from using this, I haven't had any issues with it disconnecting or like feeling funny or like drifting or anything. So the ULX 8K is definitely very reliable and very snappy. So I have no issues with that. And I actually tested the battery life. So I think if I had to estimate the battery life of it, it's probably close to like 20 hours if I had to estimate for 8K. So that's pretty damn good if you ask me. So that's pretty impressive from this. Now let's talk about the kind of other features this has. All right, so this is the firmware updater, right? And you can see the version 8 is out now, and then it tells you basically like close all your other programs to like not mess up the firmware update. But if we move over to polling rate, you can see that we now have 8K. So 8K is now actually available. The interesting thing is you don't have motion sync at 8K, which is fine because I don't really use it anyways, but it's something to, take note of. Then we have the tournament scroll feature, so you can have it on and in different, so you can have it on scroll up, scroll down, or have it on both, and it defaults to the 1500 millisecond setting. I think this is the best setting to use it on personally. And then we'll test it that one. And then we'll also test it on the 100 millisecond setting, which is the slowest one. Technically sounds different, but yeah, this one will have the most like input delay of them all. So you guys will see that. So here's the tournament scroll wheel at the base setting of, 1500 milliseconds. This one, you can see that if I move it at really slow 1 increments, it actually doesn't register your movements if it's like really, really slow. And so that's prevents you from like phantom jumping. However, you have to think about it in, both ways. Your first input itself is not being registered. So in a way, it's adding actual input lag to your motion. So obviously, if you're just scrolling quickly, you'll jump. But the question is it really worth it for you? Because, one of your inputs is essentially getting ignored because they're adding an artificial delay to help you not, miss input. And so for me, I feel like, it might not be worth it because you're just adding kind of delay to it, but, it's up to the person, right? So now we're putting the passer window at 100 milliseconds. This one, literally, I can just scroll my wheel. It's almost like it's not inputting at all if I'm going really slow, which is pretty much adding a lot of buffer for you to not randomly jump. Is that really worth it? Probably not. I really doubt anyone's really going to use this setting, but it's kind of there if you want it, but it's definitely not something that I'm going to recommend people use because it's pretty crazy how much you can move this and it's not registering input. So tournament scroll is a feature that's there if people want to use it, but I probably wouldn't use it. I mean, if I really didn't want to miss input, I'd probably just jump with my spacebar. It's really not that hard. But obviously I get why people use scroll wheel because it makes, multiple inputs really easy. So from the results, obviously the tournament mode or scroll wheel is okay. The 8K is definitely the best part of the new firmware update. And my long-term kind of insights onto this mouse is simply that, I actually cleaned this mouse beforehand, so you probably can't really see the stains as much, but my mouse definitely stained a lot. I wiped it for a long time with alcohol cleaners and it looks pretty decent, but there's definitely still some stains on the top where my 2 fingers are. But my sides didn't really stain at all. I don't think the sides really use a soft touch, so they don't really stain, I think. At least it doesn't feel like it does. So yeah, the staining is probably the biggest issue with this mouse, and the thing I don't like about this mouse. It's like I've never had a mouse get that dirty that fast. My White Viper V3 Pro definitely has not had any of those issues, and then the Beats X Max has this like nice metallic thing. Any kind of dirt, anything, you just wipe it off and it comes off really easily. So I think that's the biggest issue with this mouse. The actual buttons, everything, there's no issues with them at all. And overall, I really like the shape and this lightweight nature. This thing is about, I think, 39 grams. So it's really, really lightweight. And because it's lightweight, I mean, for me, I could use heavier mouses, no problem. This is like around like 50 something, 55, I think. And, for me, you just using the same mouse and getting used to the weight is the most important thing to be consistent. The issue with this mouse is the availability, right? They're kind of still limited drops, so you can't really get that. But if there wasn't limited drop, I would definitely recommend everyone to buy this mouse. I think this is still probably my favorite mouse that I have. This is still my favorite mouse, probably because it's a small mouse. It fits really well in my hand. I mean, it could be a little too small if you're trying to, claw gripper. This definitely, if you're trying to palm gripper, you definitely can't use it for this one. I have the line one or the medium sized one. And then, compared to the competitors, like obviously, I think the Razer Viper V3 Pro is probably the best mouse you can get if you're not trying to, buy something that's limited edition, something you can actually buy. And this mouse is available everywhere. So I definitely recommend this mouse. I really like it a lot. I feel like it is a bigger mouse, but for a lot of people, it's probably better because it has a bigger hump and you can claw grip it. So it's probably a better mouse. And then, compared to the other lightweight competitor, the WL mouse in shape, I honestly just prefer the shape of the Finalmouse. I think a lot of people say that they're similar, but I find that the sides are a little bit more, I guess, straighter and the back hump is less fat. And, the smaller holes make it just less annoying to, like, I guess, palm it. You just don't feel these kind of razor edges as much, I guess you would say. So the smaller holes definitely are better for me personally, and the shape itself is better. And then the battery life, the kind of utility, and kind of all the software itself is also just, I like it better too on the ULX. So for me, if I had to choose between these, I would definitely choose a ULX. However, for me, my ideal mouse might be like a combination between these two. I always think it's really interesting that if you kind of look at the WL mouse, the sides and the top are kind of like machined in one piece. If you look at the one on the ULX, there's separate pieces for this kind of back shell and the side shell. So there's a little bit more like flex and wiggle versus it just feels rock solid on the WL mouse. And so like if they made the ULX Pro with like the magnesium build quality of this on this mouse, that would honestly be sick. It'd probably be heavier, but like I feel like that would be like my favorite or my ideal mouse. That would be kind of crazy, right? Anyways, I hope this video helped you guys. I think if you're looking for the new, ULX competition version, that thing basically is the same thing as this mouse, but it's like, I guess, has the carbon composite raw and it's black, so it shouldn't have any of the staining issues that this mouse has, and it has solid sidewalls if you wanted solid sidewalls. This never really bothered me because I think the holes are really small, so it doesn't really make a difference for me. But for people who are interested in that, then they're probably going to be interested in the competition version. And the tournament scroll wheel, I mean, I personally don't think I would ever use it, but there's some use case scenario for some people who probably like it. So yeah. Anyways, I hope this video helped you guys. Please like and subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.